What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review of Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 9. So, look, I apologize that this episode is way late. Listen, I've been having some problems with my DVD, and the episode kept deleting, and I had to keep starting it from the very beginning, and I never got to the end of it. So I'm doing this the best I can. I'm just gonna go couple by couple, and we're gonna figure it out best way we can. Okay. We start this episode off. We have Hayley and Josh. Now listen, let's just talk about Hayley and Josh. We start off with Hayley and Josh. Hayley was talking to her friends, saying, "Listen, things with me and Josh have been going better, but last night he asked me if I was attracted to him, and I was like, no, but I'm still working on it, and I'm trying." And he was like, "What do you mean you're still working on it? You're trying? Like, either you're attracted to me or you're not. Like, I get it, and we're trying to build up to being in love and all of that. But if you're not even attracted to me, I don't know where we start. Like, I don't know where we go from there. If you're not even attracted to me, like that's a pretty fundamental thing." She tries by buying him some clothes. And on one hand, it's a really sweet gesture because you feel like he dresses out of the 80s. That's something that bothers you. And so you're trying to, like, get him to realize that, get him into the 2000s. Forget 2021. Can we get you into the 2000s? But then the flip side is, are you really trying to love me for who I am, or are you trying to turn me into somebody you can deal with? But the clothes she bought him were not extreme. She bought him some t-shirts. They did look nice on him. I thought she got some nice colors. And, he was a good sport about it. He did a whole fashion show for her and everything. And I feel like, he's sort of at a point where he's like, I don't know where we go from here. Because then, after they did the whole fashion show, he kind of went back to, "So are you attracted to me or not?" And she was like, "Well, damn, I thought we had already had this conversation." We found out that he wanted to sort of finish talking to her about it the night before, and she had gone up to visit Paige and ended up hanging out there late. And he was like, "Yeah, I was waiting for you to come home so we could talk." And she was like, "But you didn't communicate that. Like, you didn't say anything to me about it. I didn't know that's what you were doing. I can't read your mind." And I feel like both of them are sort of there. Like, I told y'all 3 weeks ago what I thought about this whole situation, and my opinion has not changed. Hayley don't like him. Do I think she's tried? I think she has tried. But I think where she is right now, she don't like him. And I don't think it's getting any better. I don't think they're growing to like each other. Okay? Josh, I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. I feel like his name ain't Josh. I know it starts with a J, though. But for some reason, Josh don't sound right. Anyway, it don't matter. They're going to be divorced in 4 more weeks anyway. He has a pool party at his house. Again, he's trying to make an attempt to, show her a funner side of him, a better side of him. He invites all of the couples over to his house. He's got that really nice house, and it seems like it is huge. He's got the pool out back. He's got a sauna, a gym, and remember, he said he's still renovating the top floor. So all of this is like the first floor and the basement. Even the guys were impressed. The guys were like, "Yo, his house is all of that. Like, it is beautiful. It is great." And so the rest of the couples come over, even Paige minus Chris. She comes over, because she says, "Listen, I'm actually building some really good friendships with these ladies, and even though things with me and Chris are what they are, it was nice to see them, and it was nice to hang out with them." He talks to, yeah, Josh isn't right. Like, I know it's not right now. But he talks to the rest of the guys, and he's kind of letting the rest of the guys know that that he's really trying to make things work with Hayley, but it just doesn't seem to be clicking, and like he just doesn't know what to do at this point. He doesn't know what to do at this point. Things just aren't really clicking. So listen, I predict that that's one of the couples that ain't gonna stay together. I just feel like it's not. Um, Virginia and Brian. So Brian had his first work trip, and I found it very interesting that he was worried about her and her communication while she's not there, and when she was out of town and spending time with her friends and stuff like that. But when he was out of town on business, she said that he was the one that didn't really communicate that well. And his response to her was, well, I mean, that's just sort of how things go with my job when I'm working. Sir, you ain't flying all day, all night, all night. Like, come on. Like, if that's what you expect for her to do when y'all are away from each other, then you need to give what you get. She also felt a little frustrated because she said while he was gone, she really went out of her way to organize the house, to wash clothes and do laundry. And when he came home, it was as if he didn't even notice. And when she brought it to his attention, he did apologize and said that he appreciated it and he was sorry. But again, that's the kind of thing I shouldn't have to pull out of you. Like, you ain't know I did all the laundry and I organized your closet and I organized the kitchen. Like, you didn't notice none of that. So I don't know. That was very interesting. They did go out on a little date. They went golfing, and it was cute. Then I'm gonna finish going through the rest of the couples, but the couples had this love exercise where they had to basically talk about, what does love mean to you? What does it look like to you? Of course, Hayley and her husband, child, she ain't even attracted to him, much less get to the love part. So that whole conversation went left really, really fast. But for Virginia and Brian, they had a really interesting conversation because remember, Virginia is the one who grew up with the parents who were divorced. The dad had been divorced like 2 or 3 times, so she didn't really grow up around. She didn't really grow up around strong relationships, whereas we have Brian on the other hand, who had the total opposite. His parents have been together for 50 years, and so he told her, he said, I really, and she said, I feel like because I was always scared of being hurt and being disappointed, I would get to a certain point with guys and then I would sort of push them away. And he said, he appreciated that, she was opening up to the process and, understanding that. And she asked him, she said, well, have you been in love since your divorce? And he was like, no. And I'm not really worried about that because, that's part of why you're here, right? Because you haven't been able to find love since you got divorced. I don't feel like he's still hung up on his wife or that there's still anything there, honestly. I think he just, not like Ryan, which we're going to get to Ryan, but not like Ryan, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of Ryan, let's just go on and get to Ryan and Claire. So they went on a little crafting, activity. Claire likes to craft, and she asked him about, well, have you figured out where my craft room is going to go in the house? And he was like, the garage? And she was like, the garage? And he was like, did you want it in the house? Now, again, that's one of those conversations that could go either way. She felt a little disappointed because she was like, that's something that's very important to me, and for him to put it in the garage kind of made me feel some kind of way. However, I feel like depending on what kind of crafting that you're doing, I don't see the problem with it being in the garage. Especially, again, depends on what kind of garage we're talking about. We have some garage, like a friend of mine, he's turned his whole garage into a man cave. Like, literally, it is a man room. For the exception that the door comes up and down. It's a garage. But the cars don't go in there. And it is, he got rugs and, he got the TV and the bar. And, it is literally a man cave. So, it depends on when you say the garage, what you're looking at. And it also depends on what kind of crafting that we're doing. Are we talking about crafting with chemicals? Are you talking about they were literally at a pottery place doing pottery. Like, what kind of crafting we talking about here, ma'am? Because that makes a difference. Like, it really does make a difference. And so, again, I think it's the right thing for them to be having these conversations. And then when they got into their love conversation, listen, Ryan, I'm starting to get a little worried about Ryan. Why have we still not had sex? Why have we still not consummated this marriage? I'm starting to get a little worried about you, Ryan. And what I mean by worried, y'all, don't go left. I'm not trying to say he undercover or nothing like that. That ain't the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I mean, I'm starting to get a little worried about you from the point of view of why don't you want to have sex with this woman? Are you not into her? Do you not? Are you not feeling her? Why you don't want to have sex with her? Something going on here. Like, are you a virgin and you just not telling us? And I'm not even saying that to be funny, but I mean, if you a 30-some-year-old virgin, that would make sense as to why you're so hesitant about consummating the marriage. I don't know. Later on in the episode, we see them talking, and she said to her, love to her looks like thinking about what I like. When you order dinner for me, making sure you ask them to hold the onions because I don't like onions. Knowing that I had a bad day at work, bringing me flowers just because. And she was like, and I don't want you to do it because I'm asking you to do it. I want you to do it because you genuinely are like, hey, I want you to have I know you had a crappy day, and I thought about you. She was like, it's the small things. And so he took her out on a date to like this donut shop that had like all these different types of donuts. And it looked really sweet because clearly, we know Ryan is a nutrition buff. Like, he don't eat a bunch of donuts and sweets and stuff. He only put that kind of stuff in his body. And so it was a nice gesture because, again, it was, I know you like junk food. I know this is what you like, and this is about you. This is for you. Then they got to talking about eating vegetables and eating healthy and stuff like that. And Claire was like, okay, I feel like this is an infomercial. Like, I feel like you brought me here to eat donuts just to tell me how bad donuts are. Like, I don't need you to tell me how to eat. I don't need you to lecture me on my bad habits. I need you to just accept them and let's figure out how we meet in the middle. But yeah, I don't know, y'all. I'm starting to really feel like Ryan maybe is not feeling her. I don't know. All right. Bree and Vincent. They're doing really well. I hope that this is not a red herring. I hope that they're not pretending like things are really well and behind the scenes they fighting like cats and dogs. But they seem to really, really be doing well. When they got to their love question, Bree said, and I thought this was something very interesting that Bree said. She said, when I know I'm falling in love, I stop focusing on the things that's wrong and just accepting them and not even really noticing it anymore. And I know that made Vincent feel good because that was something that he had a problem with. He felt like she was very critical of him. And it also explains why maybe she is so critical in the beginning, because she is nitpicky and she sees every single thing that's wrong. But the more and more she develops feelings and starts loving, the less and less she sees the bad stuff. And both of them said that they're falling in love with the other one. They said they definitely love each other and they're getting to the point of falling in love with each other. Now, Paige and that boy, Chris. Chris's pastor reached out to Paige. His friend / pastor reached out to Paige. I felt some kind of way about that a little bit. Again, I see it from both sides. I see it from the side that, hey, I married you, so I feel sort of vested in this. Also, I encouraged Chris to do this, and I really think you're a good woman. And I've heard Chris's side of the story. Let me hear your side of the story and see if there's some way y'all can meet in the middle, and maybe there's some salvaging this, some reconciliation that can happen. Paige was very honest with him and told him, some things that maybe Chris hadn't shared or didn't, told his way. Like, for example, when he went to Chicago, y'all, he literally booked his flight while they were on the flight home to Atlanta. I knew somewhere in there, because remember, she had his luggage, which means that was the luggage he had checked on the plane. And she just talked about how bad the whole situation was and how, and she even questioned whether she thought there even really was a baby. And I feel like she caught herself talking about it and then sort of kind of stopped. I don't know if that was her or the producers, but you know, and I can understand where she's coming from. To be like, listen, out of nowhere, all of a sudden now you got this baby, and you know the timeline doesn't add up with some of the things he said. But let's be clear, nothing with Chris has been adding up. Nothing, nothing. Chris wants to see her, and they have this conversation. And listen, Chris is playing this back and forth game again. I don't know if it's production or if it's him, but they're playing this back and forth game where it's like, I'm gonna push you away, and I'm gonna pull you to me, and I'm gonna push you away, and I'm gonna pull you to me, and um, ultimately, oh Lord, ultimately, she sort of in this conversation sort of grows some balls a little bit and tells him that she is tired of him wasting her time and she is no longer interested. And she gets up and walks away from him. But he tries to explain to her why he was upset and why he was mad at her from that last conversation with the fiance. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody care about you being mad and why you mad. Let's be clear about that. Nobody cares. I know I don't. Nobody cares. And then of course he said that thing again about being afraid of falling in love with her. Boy, you ain't thinking about falling in love with that woman. You ain't thinking about it. You not concerned about it. It is not on your mind in any way, shape, or form. Let's be clear. You are not worried about falling in love with that woman because you're not. Anyway, y'all, that's pretty much it. If there's anything I missed, I'll catch it up in the next review. I apologize. Again, the DVR was giving me a hard time, and I had to keep starting the thing over from the beginning. So I ended up watching it over to the YouTube. And y'all, listen, it was a lot. But I love y'all, so it's here. It's late, but it's here. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.